we're going to go ahead pretty quickly upstream toward the next turn. You can see how we're kind of in the middle of the river. Off to my right is a big white house on the top of the hill, and off to the left is a smaller white structure that's a restaurant. We're kind of going in between those two. And we do want to stay focused on that orange buoy. There's a lot of room in here. You can go as far over as the yellow buoy line to the left if you like, and that won't necessarily be a problem. It might be a little farther. But the closer you get to this orange buoy, the more you want to be on that line, only because to the right of it, if we go over toward this shore over on the right side, we're going to bring into play some shallower water where weeds can grow up to the top and foul your rudder. Over on the side that the race course is set up, there shouldn't be any problem. And this turn that's coming up is a left turn. It's a turn to port. So we're gonna go over on that, closer to the buoy line and onto that buoy so you can see what that looks like. In this area, we're still clear of any, there is no real weed hazard over here, but I would not suggest going too much farther over to starboard than where we are. And then we've got kind of a 2 or 3 part turn here. We've got the big orange buoy, a 2-foot orange buoy, a small yellow line of buoys, and then the final turn of the course is that final orange buoy that you see, the 3rd orange buoy up there. So at that point, right here at this buoy, we're approximately 1,000 meters from the finish line at this yellow buoy, wherever it is, right there, or that red buoy, I mean. And then probably we're 800 or 900 meters when we get up to this turn. And you can see in the distance the finish line and run out area in the big red buoys up ahead. This is a nice straight shot through here. You can get over as close as you want to the yellow buoys, secure in the knowledge that nobody is going to cross over that line as they come back returning downstream. And we just follow this straight course right on up to the finish line. Leonie, let's go ahead and we'll take a run up to where the last 500 meters are. When the water is calm like this, it's fairly easy to see these smaller buoys. If the wind gets strong, it gets a little choppy, and under the glare of the sun, sometimes it's not so easy. But if you're over near the line, you can always see them somewhere. I mean, you can always see 1 or 2 of the buoys. Here we can see virtually all of them. This last part is usually pretty calm. It's the narrowest part of the river. Generally pretty protected from any wind. So it's a nice place to finish your sprint. And in case you're wondering how much farther you have to go, when the buoys turn to red buoys over here, you'll see the yellow line, and then it turns to red. The red buoys indicate you've got 500 meters to go. The buoys are 20 meters apart. It means that there are 25 red buoys left when you get here. That's 500 meters. So right now we're 500 meters from the finish line. The finish line is at New Haven Rowing Club. Excuse me for that zoom. There we go. That's a little bit better. This is what it looks like. We put a lot of width in the finishing areas, so if you have to pass, there's plenty of room to do it. Really doesn't matter what side you pass on, but remember, the overtaking crew always has the right of way. If you are being overtaken, you must yield, and you have to yield to whichever way is indicated by where the crew has decided to overtake you. So if they're overtaking on your right side, you've got to move left. You'll see on the right there's a dock for New Haven Rowing Club. This first big buoy, it has a large F on it that means finish. That is the finish line. You'll see it's where the end of the little red buoys are. So this first big orange buoy that we're coming to at this end of the course, red buoys on the small line, and the finish line is the first orange buoy. There should be some kind of a horn or some kind of an indication that you've crossed the finish line. The finish line officials will be sitting up on the balcony of the New Haven Rowing Club over on this side of the river, in that building. And we can come up a little faster. That'd be okay. Yeah. This is the buoy that has the F on it for finish. And this is where the finish line judges will be up there, and they'll get your time. When you cross the finish line here, continue to paddle, otherwise we'll have a massive log jam. And you want to paddle up all the way past that third buoy that you see in the run out area. Just keep paddling, paddle past that buoy, and then you can turn and start back downstream. Some areas of the return lane are a little bit narrow, so be sure that you give room for crews that may be launching from the New Haven Boat Club area, and they may be going down to warm up. So there may be a few crews that are going down through the recovery area on a warm up. Just be aware of that. But we'll ask you to paddle out here to the last buoy and then loop around that buoy. And that should avoid any finish line congestion where people stop prematurely and end up having boats ram into them at full speed from behind. That's never a good look. So once we've completed our turn around this last run out buoy, it's about 300 meters past the finish line. There will be marshals all along the course. There's some 8 or 9 safety launches if anything goes wrong. And this is where we turn around to head back down in the return lane. And that's pretty much the course. The first part of the return lane going downstream is the narrowest part. So just use good judgment. Don't try to pass people if it's not necessary. And have a great race.